Welcome to the second video bulletin of the 2015 baseball season. I'm Tom Heiler, the Director of Umpire Training for the NCAA, and today we have a couple of very important rules to discuss. First, there have been several requests to conference coordinators across the country for some additional language to be added to the hit-by-pitch rule to further clarify the intent of this rule and therefore to get a more consistent enforcement across the country from the umpires. The rule states that a batter must make an attempt to avoid the pitch. The problem that has arose is that many umpires are interpreting this rule too literally in some cases when a batter simply is not able to make an attempt or that attempt is very minor. Therefore, the Secretary of Rules Editor has asked umpires to ask themselves a second question when this hit-by-pitch situations arise. First, did the batter make an attempt to avoid the pitch? Second of all, you must also ask yourself the question, was the batter trying to get hit by the pitch? It is felt that this language will further clarify the rule. Let's take a look at a few clips so that we can get a better understanding of how to use this additional language. Now let's take a look at a few clips. This batter was not trying to get hit by the pitch, therefore he should be awarded first base. This one here, although you may not see any effort by this batter to make an attempt to get out of the way, he certainly was not trying to get hit by the pitch, and this batter should be awarded first base here. A lot of these types of situations, we've seen umpires leaving these batters at home plate because they said they did not see an effort to get out of the way. There are times that a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at your head or at the ribs will be just an ever so slight attempt to get out of the way, and we certainly want to put these batters on first base. Again, we need to ask ourselves the question, was this batter trying to get hit by the pitch? Here a batter started his swing, but certainly was not trying to get hit intentionally by this pitch. He should be awarded first base. Again, there's two parts to this rule that we're going to ask ourselves. One, did the batter make an attempt? Here, probably not. It's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at the ribs. Should be awarded first base. Again, this batter just starts his swing, does all he can there to try to get out of the way. It's very slight, but again, should be awarded first base. We'll take a look at just a few more clips here. This batter was not trying to get hit by the pitch. Again, should be awarded first base. This batter here had no time to get out of the way of this pitch. Obviously, he's a little upset here as well. Awarded first. Again, the effort here to try to get out of the way, minimal, but was not trying to get hit by the pitch. None of these pitches so far are these batters trying to get hit by the pitch. All of these, the batters should be awarded first base. Again here, this batter had started his swing. The attempt to get out of the way is ever so slight, and again, ask ourselves the question, was he trying to get hit by the pitch? And the answer is no, should be awarded first base. In this clip, we will have a runner diving headfirst into home plate and a catcher trying to block the plate as he is receiving a thrown ball. The question is, do we have obstruction by the fielder, which is the catcher in this case, for blocking the base before he has gained possession of the thrown ball? Before we answer this question, let's talk just for a moment about the history of this rule. Approximately 10 years ago, the Rules Committee adopted a rule that said a fielder could not block the base or the plate unless he was clearly in possession of the ball. This rule, as you may remember, forced catchers to stand out in front of home plate, receive a throw from another fielder, and then go into the baseline to try and tag the runner. Approximately 2 rule cycles ago, the Rules Committee amended this rule and actually implemented the rule to where it had been for many years prior to the change that took place approximately 10 years ago. Our rule today is very simple. Under the definition of obstruction, which is Rule 2, Section 55, the act of a fielder who, while not in possession of or in the act of fielding the ball, impedes the progress of any runner. Additionally, in Section 55, there's an approved ruling that states, if the fielder is about to receive a thrown ball and the ball is in flight directly toward and near enough to the fielder so he must occupy his position to receive the throw, he may be considered in the act of fielding the ball. Okay, let's now take a look at this play. You will see a runner sliding to the outside of the plate and a catcher clearly standing in the baseline blocking the plate. You can tell when the ball is getting very close to the catcher, as he even moves his left foot out farther to fully block the plate. Nobody is concerned about the catcher's position until the runner gets close enough to home plate where he has to decide how he's going to slide. What an umpire should be looking for in this clip is, when is the catcher in the act of fielding? There is no definitive or measurable answer as to when a fielder is in the act of fielding and when this act begins. Generally speaking, umpires are instructed that if a ball's coming to home plate on the fly from the outfield, that at about the time the ball is over the dirt area of the infield, a catcher would have to be positioning himself in the position that he wants to take to receive this throw. Remember now, the ball is moving very fast. Recently, during the NCAA Baseball Umpire Program conference call that took place last week, the Secretary Rules Editor has issued an extended interpretation regarding this type of play at the plate. It says the defensive player may not, while awaiting the throw, redirect or reroute the runner, block the base, and then receive the throw after having made contact with the runner and then tag the runner. If any of these occur, by rule, this would constitute obstruction. So let's take another look at this play here. We now know that the catcher can be in the act of fielding, and while doing so, he can go where he needs to be able to receive this throw. But as you watch this play here, just before he receives the ball, he takes his left foot and moves it another foot or two to his left. Right here, we're going to see the catcher's left foot is still. He's fine. Now he takes that left foot and shoves it out in front of the runner in an effort to reroute or block the plate further. And in this situation here, the Secretary Rules Editor says obstruction should be called here. If this catcher had left his left foot where it initially was, where he needed to be to catch the baseball, he would have been fine. But in this particular clip, the Secretary Rules Editor has said that this is obstruction because the catcher did not need to move that left foot. He did so in an effort to redirect or reroute the runner here, further blocking the plate, and that is where the obstruction comes from in this clip here. So yes, catcher can be where he needs to be to catch a throw. He can go where he needs to catch a throw. But above and beyond that, he cannot take additional measures here to redirect or reroute the runner. In this clip, obstruction should be called. So here you have runners on second and third with less than 2 outs. A fly ball to right field followed by a play at the plate. A pretty crazy play, to say the least. I do think, though, we could take a look at a couple things in this video that we could have done just a little bit better. First of all, I thought the plate umpire did a nice job getting himself in position at the end of this play to see everything that happened and to keep the pitcher out of his way as well. The only thing that I would really suggest here for this plate umpire on this crazy of a play is we'd like to see this umpire start at the point of the plate. Now this ball is coming from right field and it has all the makings of being a swipe tag. We really, on this play, should start third base line extended. If this umpire would have started third base line extended, he probably would have hardly have had to move at all on this play and maybe only a step or two to his right. The key thing for me here is look at this play. It is a ball that is caught in foul territory down the right field line, and a catcher is going to reach towards that ball and come back to the runner just like he did here. And being first base line extended, you really set yourself up to miss the initial tag that took place here. Attempted tag that took place. See here, if we're third base line extended, we have all this out in front of us and could have been able to tell whether or not that first attempt by the catcher was a tag. Now at that point, the umpire just has to get himself in any position he can to see this whole tail end of the play. I also would like to make it very clear that according to the NCAA rulebook on the guidelines of being out of the baseline, there's no doubt in my mind that this runner is clearly out of the baseline. Very, very much a judgment call on the very first tag attempt, but certainly on this second one here, without a doubt, that runner is clearly more than a step and a reach away from his direct line to home plate here. And you can see him dancing around that. And certainly there would be cause here for this runner to be called out immediately right there for being out of the baseline. Right there, without a doubt, that's out of the baseline. And you very well could have had it early on the first tag attempt as well. The only thing in this clip, again, that we'd like to see better is this plate umpire. If he would have started at the point, saw the throw coming from foul territory in right field, took 2 steps to his right, and had this whole play out in front of him, third baseline extended. I don't think this umpire had a good look at the initial tag attempt right there. Now the rest of it, he just got to get himself in position to see it, and certainly a tough call under a tough circumstance.